Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am Amanda Bassetti, the owner of simplymaggie.com. If you enjoy a good home renovation, like DIY home renovation or yarn creations, then you should go check out my website. But for today, I'm going to show you how to finger crochet with multiple colors. So today I'm going to be using a super bulky yarn and I'm going to show you how to do two different techniques. This one will show you how to finger crochet using two colors at one time. And then this one here, it'll show you how to create stripes or color blocking. And both are super easy, super quick. You know my videos, they bring you step by step through these tutorials so that you can learn how to do it yourself at home and create these beautiful projects in no time at all. So let's go ahead and get right into what we're going to need to create these multicolored finger crochet projects. So I grabbed these two yarns at my local Joann's store. This is the Big Twist Natural Blend yarn in the color Winter White. This is a number 6 super bulky yarn. Same with this one. This is a number 6 super bulky yarn and this is the brand Buttercream Luxe Craft Alpaca. This is in the color Charcoal. Both super bulky yarns. You can use any brand you want. If you don't know how to finger crochet, I have a very detailed video on my channel that you can head over and watch that, learn how to finger crochet, and then come back to this video and learn how to finger crochet with multiple colors. I'm going to use 2 strands at one time. So I'm going to take the wrapper right off of this white one here. I'm going to pull 1 strand from the center. Sometimes it can be hard to find the end. Alright, so we have the strand from the center of the skein. We're also going to use the one that's on the outside. So now we have these 2 strands, one from the center, one from the outside, and we're going to finger crochet with them together as if they are one. So go ahead and make your slip knot. And like I mentioned, I have a very detailed tutorial on my channel that you can watch and learn how to finger crochet and then come back to this video. I will have it linked down below in the description box. We did our slip knot and now we're going to make a chain of 10. I'm just going to do a chain of 10 for time's sake in this video. So make your chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Your skein or your 2 strands might get a little bit twisted, so just keep an eye on that so you don't end up with any knots in your yarn because that can be pretty frustrating. Go ahead and pull on that a little bit to lengthen the stitches. And now we're going to go ahead and do our first foundation row using just the white yarn. So I like to insert both of my fingers. It helps keep the stitch or all the stitches around the same size. And I'm going to go ahead and insert my index finger, pull up that working yarn. The working yarn is the yarn attached to the skein, and then you're going to grab the working yarn again and pull it through both of those loops on your finger. That was 1 stitch, and now we're going to go to the next one. Crochet that stitch, and these are all single crochet stitches. And next stitch. And you're just going to continue with single crochet all the way to the end of the row here. Now once you have finger crocheted your last stitch here on the very end of the row, we're going to make 1 chain, okay, and then we're going to just flip our work around, turn your work, and then go ahead and pull on your work on each end and lengthen those stitches so that it's not all curled up. And I'm going to go ahead and do 1 more row of single finger crochet with just the white color. So you want to make sure you don't skip that first stitch here. If you skip this first stitch in each row, your work will end up looking like a triangle. So you want to make sure you get that first stitch in every single row. Now we have one stitch here left on the end of our second row, and we're going to grab our other color yarn. So in my case, I'm going to grab this dark gray, take the wrapper right off, and same thing as we did with the other skein, we're going to pull one strand from the center and one strand from the outside of the skein. So now that we have our two strands together of our second color, we're going to insert your fingers into your loop of your first color. Find that last stitch, insert your finger, pull up the first color, and now what I like to do is grab that second color and complete that single crochet with the second color. You're just going to pull it up through and complete that single crochet. And now we're going to put that white yarn aside, still attached to your work. We're going to leave it attached, and we're going to only use the gray or the second color, whichever color you decided to use. I'm going to make one chain with the gray. The next thing we're going to do, just like we were doing with the white, is turn our work, and we're going to single crochet across this row with the gray. So find that first stitch, single crochet into that one, single crochet into the next one, only using the gray or the second color that you chose. Make sure you don't get tangled up. That's the only thing with using one skein at a time and two strands at one time, is sometimes it'll get twisted. What you can do is put the skein of yarn or the ball of yarn on the floor. It won't get as twisted that way. Or you can just buy two skeins and pull from the center of each skein. So I'm coming to the end of this first row of gray, and I'm going to do 2 rows of gray just like I did with the white. So I'm going to go ahead and finger crochet, single crochet this last stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to pull on that a bit. You can tighten up. See how this kind of loosened up here? I'm going to tighten that so that that hole wasn't so big. Now we're going to do one more row with the gray. So make sure you don't skip that first stitch. So your finger, pull up your yarn, and single crochet, and do that all the way across the row. So we're at our last stitch here on this row, and what's great about doing rows in multiples of 2 is you can come back to where you left your previous color, and you don't have to cut it, you can just bring it up the side of the work. Now if you're doing 1 row at a time or 3 rows at a time in odd numbers, you will have to cut your work with each time that you change colors. So I don't have to do that because I'm doing 2 rows at a time. So I'm going to, just like we did with the white yarn, we're going to insert our finger in this last stitch here, and then pull up the gray or the second color. Put that gray aside now, and we're going to pull up the white yarn, and we're going to start using that. Now don't pull too tight because it'll pull up this corner of the work here. Grab that, pull it through, and then chain 1. Turn our work. Again, we're leaving that gray aside. I'm going to continue finger crocheting all across this row here with our first color, the white color. Single crochet, then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work to do our second row with the white. So we are coming up to the end of this second row here with the first color, and now we're going to do our last stitch here, but only halfway. And now we're going to drop the first color with the 2 loops on your fingers, pick up the second color, pull that through, and I'm going to go ahead and make a chain 1 turn my work. So you can see here, this is what it's looking like. We've got some stripes going on here. And I'm going to go ahead and do 2 rows of the gray just so you can get a better idea of how this will look. Definitely much easier with the skeins of yarn on the floor, kind of untangles itself. And now we have our last stitch here with the second color. And I'm going to go ahead and end here, but if you want to switch colors again, what you would do is just bring up the yarn like we were doing before, get the 2 loops on your fingers, drop the second color, pick up the first color, and then continue doing that throughout your entire project. I'm going to end mine here and just give you a good look. This is what it looks like. Okay, and you can kind of pull on that, stretch it. Here you can kind of see what 2 strands at a time looks like with the super bulky yarn compared to the 3 strands I used in my detail tutorial on my channel. So it still looks really good. So now we're going to move on to our second technique, which is finger crocheting with 2 colors at one time. And you can do more than 2 colors. You can do 3 or 4. Or 5, it just depends on the size of your yarn. And to do that, you would just grab 1 strand from each skein or from each color and hold them as if they are one, just like we're doing here. So what I did was I just used the strand from the center of each skein, that way they don't get tangled, and I put them together as if they're one. And then you're just going to make a slip knot using both strands and colors at one time. And then for the sake of the video, again, I'm just going to do 10 chains, so a chain of 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So we have our chain of 10. Go ahead and pull on that a bit to lengthen the stitches, and then we're going to begin single crochet using both colors at one time. Find that first stitch here. Insert your finger, pull up the yarn, single crochet. Next stitch. And you're going to go ahead and do that across the entire chain, making your first row here. And we're coming up to the end of this row, our last stitch here, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Lengthen your stitches by pulling on them so it's not all curled and bunched up, and then make sure on this second row here that you don't skip the first stitch. So we're going to go right into that first stitch and single crochet, and you're going to single crochet all the way across. And now you can do all different stitches with finger crochet. I just always tend to use single crochet in my tutorials because it is the most basic stitch that you can do while crocheting. But you could be creative and try whatever stitch you like. Last stitch here. Now that we did our last stitch, we're going to chain 1, turn our work. Begin row 3. And just crochet all the way across until you come to the end. Chain 1 and turn your work. Row 4, it's that simple. You can do blankets this way, rugs. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And this is what it looks like so far. I'm going to do a few more rows, and that is it. That is how you finger crochet with using multiple colors at one time and creating a more like textured look to your project. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. You can use that technique or both of those techniques to create all different patterns and projects. So for example, maybe a blanket, a bag, a towel, a rug, a washcloth, and there's so many different things that you could make. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment section, and subscribe. Hit that little thumbs up button if you liked this video. That always helps me out. And I hope you guys come back around to see my newest videos. I have another one coming out next week to create this cute bag. and that's with finger crochet. So hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out. And again, go down to the description box down below, click on my link to head to my blog. I have all different patterns, all different projects, and I hope you guys enjoy them. I will see you in my next video. Bye.